Well, I guess we'll get started. Thank you for coming to the IOE Institute on Ecosystems Rough Cut Seminar Series. I'm Bruce Maxwell, and I'm the director here at MSU. And before I announce our guest today, I want to say that the Grasslands Group is co-sponsoring this seminar and are having a social at the Hofbräu at 5 tonight. So as a follow-up and more discussion about what we hear today. So Dr. Rachel Foss is with us today. She is the program leader for the Dan Scott Management Program in the Animal and Range Science Department here at Montana State. She combines her family ranch experience with a BS and MS in animal science from research and educational background in livestock grazing for vegetation management, plant and animal interactions. Most recently, she worked with conservation districts and local, state, and federal agencies on issues important to ranching in central and eastern Montana. Hence the connection with the Grasslands Group. And we're really looking forward to hearing more about the Dan Scott Management Program. So,
all right. Well, thank you, Bruce, and thank you for the opportunity to be here and to share with you my latest venture, the news program within the Department of Animal and Range Sciences, and that is the Dan Scott Ranch Management Program. This is a very unique program from a couple of different perspectives. First, we are one of only 3 institutions in the U.S. that offer a full ranch management degree, and both of those other institutions, one of them is Texas Christian University that offers a A&M Kingsville, and they offer a master's in ranchment degree not located in Texas. A variety of different climates and regions. I think there's some really unique opportunities that make this an excellent program to be located in Montana. We have such a unique conservation landscape, a unique culture of working together and creating partnerships that make this a great opportunity for this highlight those things and to incorporate a number of for ranch management. So for the next few minutes, I'll describe to you a little bit about the background of the program, how it was formed and designed, and then where we are with it currently as far as gathering students and developing our outreach program, and where we see it going in the future, which is always a vague pathway. It's our first year. We're trying to figure things to adjust as we go along. Point it out the screen. Okay, who's the CEO of the Padlock Ranch. I think he really brings to light the fact that today's ranch manager needs a diverse variety of skills. They need to do a whole lot more than be able to manage cattle and fix anything on the ranch with a roll of big lunch farm, right? It's a multifaceted career that finances, involves livestock and crop production, natural resource stewardship, and also management of that all-important human resource that plays such a critical ranch management. We're also seeing changes in the social structure of ranches. There's been such a huge advance in science and technology, different changes in consumer trends, market volatility, policy, that all affect the way ranches can operate. Additionally, we're seeing some generational complexities with ranches. The younger generation, there's different challenges to coming back, and oftentimes they need to bring different skills and abilities that allow them to create their own space within that ranch and maybe additional enterprises that help that to be fruitful. So that all requires a different type of training for an individual to come back to even a family operation. Additionally, we're seeing a lot of changes in the ownership patterns of ranches here. Some research done by folks in this group really clearly defines that. That we're seeing folks come in and purchase these large properties that have no agricultural background. They have a very different focus and priority for how they want that land to be used, a real focus on amenities over production, which requires just a different mindset and way of prioritizing things. And then also, unlike some of those very first absentee owners that kind of bought the property, knew they had it, and spend most of their time wherever their primary residence was, we're seeing more and more involvement from some of these absentee owners, especially direct involvement in that decision making. They want to know what's going on day to day on that ranch. And this requires another bit of training for folks who would be in a management position there. It's no longer, here's the keys to the ranch, take care of it, let me know how things are going every once in a while. It is, I'm directly involved in this, we're partners in this, we need to be able to communicate not just about ranch stuff, but you need to be able to put that into a language that makes sense to me as a business person, and I can design specifically to produce students with these skills and abilities to operate in that atmosphere. So this is not a new idea. This program's actually been in the making for over 10 years. There were groups that identified those changing dynamics within the ranching industry, particularly Nature Conservancy. Montana were some of the groups who started initiating these conversations. But it wasn't really until 2015 when Dean Boyer tasked a group with assessing the need and structure of what a ranch management program might look like at MSU. So they delved deeply into the other programs, and then the MSU College of Business did a stakeholder survey. Over 2 science 4-year degree that had a very well-structured internship program in there. It wasn't just we want a ranching systems degree. They honed it down to what type of a degree and what type of experience needed to be included in that. And then there was overwhelming indication that this degree would benefit both of those categories of ranches, the traditional family operation as well as the absentee or amenity focused operation. And so they began fundraising for the position in 2016, 2017, advertised for a program lead, and then I started that position in July 1 of last year. This is the mission vision of the program. So it's to sustain and preserve the agricultural heritage of the Northern Great Plains and Intermountain West by graduating students who have the breadth of knowledge and diversity of skills needed to employ prudent ranching practices that create value and improve the natural resources vital to our land. The breadth of knowledge, the diversity of skills. Those kinds of terms aren't usually associated with what we're thinking about in academia. We want to try to hone in and create, semi-experts in fields. We're really emphasizing that these graduates need to be very broadly based. And we follow that up again with our vision statement. Okay, granted, right now we are the preeminent ranch management program because we're the only one in the Northern Great Plains and the Intermountain West, but I think that's going to change soon. There's a lot of universities who have recognized that same need, and they're just a step or two behind us in implementing similar types of programs within those universities. And then again, we're supposed to be preparing graduates with that diverse set of skills to meet a variety of challenges. You've got to be that jack of all trades that can handle whatever's coming at you within this industry. And then the values that we're seeking to instill in the students. I love this graphic. It was created back in the conceptual part of developing this program. And it focuses on a lot of things that maybe we don't typically think of in the academic setting that would be incredible values for these students. Perseverance, ingenuity, organization, leadership, systems level thinking, critical thinking. And then at the heart of it are those 3 different attributes of ethics, integrity, and passion. Hence the byline on the title, which is turning their passion into a profitable profession. We're really seeking those students who have a passion for ranching, not just as an industry, but as a lifestyle, something that they want to live and that they want to be a part of, and helping them to incorporate that successfully into something that they can make a great profession of as part of this program's purpose. So there's 2 components to the program. There is that BS 4-year degree in ranching systems. And it is not a degree in animal science with an emphasis in livestock management like most of the other degrees in the animal range sciences. It is a Bachelor of Science in ranching systems specifically. And then there's also the somewhat nebulous still Dan Scott Ranch Management Program, which really is meant to be this outreach, this interaction more than outreach, I would say, between Montana State University, this program, and the ranching community of the state and the surrounding region of Intermountain West and Northern Great Plains as well. And what does that interaction look like? And how can we make it something that enriches the lives of the existing ranching community and helps to keep them economically viable? Because when we start to see those ranches cease to become economically viable, that's when things we don't like start to happen. That's when they're subdivided. That's when they start plowing up more ground to go to farming and other practices. So how can we use this program and its outreach component to really connect with those ranches? And I think this is the idea of this program and this outreach component is what makes the location of Montana so exciting and so perfect. Montana State enjoys a really unique relationship with the ranching community and with its agriculture stakeholders. It's a much closer relationship than many other states and their land grant universities. So being fortunate enough for this program to be located here and have that ranching community be able to provide the help to me in this program as far as providing experiences for students and then being able to work directly with them is something that makes Montana just the perfect location for this program, I believe. So I've already talked a little bit about the unique degree and how it's situated as far as the other degree programs within the US and even here within the university. I'll talk in detail about the curriculum and how that's made up here in another slide. But I want to touch on the fact that this is a limited enrollment program. It's capped at 10 students per year, so there's a total of 20 students in the program total because it's limited enrollment for your junior and senior year. So coming in, any student who wants to can declare ranching systems as their major, but then in the fall of their sophomore year, they apply for admission to the next level of the program. And that application is a pretty detailed process. They have to have earned so many credits towards the ranching systems degree at that point. They have to have a 3.0 GPA. The application process requires that they submit a resume, letters of reference, answer several essay questions. That application, the written application is graded, and then they go through a face-to-face interview with myself and some members of the steering committee for the program before they are recommended for acceptance or not into the program. So once you're accepted into the program as a student, we spend this spring semester matching students with an intern host in a ranch. And their first official step in the program will be serving that internship between their sophomore and junior year that summer. If you're not accepted into the program, then you can pretty easily roll into an animal science livestock management degree or a range ecology degree at that point without losing a lot of time at the university. The other thing that sets this degree apart is there are so many educational opportunities for ranch owners, land managers that are already going on in Montana. There's a ton of opportunities out there through the Natural Resource Conservation Service, through conservation districts, through MSU Extension, and through nonprofits who are bringing in consultants and experts in the field. And so being able to connect to that network and take advantage of those outside education opportunities are going to be great to help these students connect with mentors and to create that professional network that will help them in the future, as well as exposing them to all kinds of other educational opportunities. For example, the Judith Basin Conservation District hosts a grazing school every year, and they've been bringing in people from South Africa to talk about regenerative grazing. So this is not your neighborhood grazing school, right? Ranching for profit. I had the opportunity to go with my student over to Livingston, and we partook of a ranching profitability 3-week course that was put on by the Plank Stewardship Initiative and Western Sustainability Exchange. So partnering with those folks to get us access to this additional education is really great. And then a couple of weeks ago, a student and I went to the Montana Soil Health Symposium over in Billings. It was sponsored in large part by the Natural Resource Conservation Service. So combining as many of those opportunities as possible will help enrich the students and further diversify their education opportunities. And then within the curriculum, there are 6 specific ranching systems courses. 2 of them are internships. Those other 4 courses will be reflection on those internships and helping the students really assimilate the diversity in the curriculum and their experiences on the internship into single thoughts, into how they can use this for management in the future. We're going to flip the classroom for those experiences. So students who did internships, when they come back, each student will present on their internship. So they'll allow all the students within the class to get at least a virtual secondhand experience of what the other students learned within their internship and further increase their exposure to that. And then we'll do some more in-depth analysis of the things that they learned on their internship as well. So really focusing on a systems approach to production, natural resource stewardship, business finance, human resources all together. And this is how the curriculum is organized, right? It's that breadth, it's that diversity. So what this program does is it has equal credits in rangeland ecology, animal science, and business that are required for graduation. So we're not really creating experts in any of those fields. We're trying to create a solid foundation. And we've selected the courses underneath each of those that really help to lay that solid foundation in there. So within the rangeland ecology block, we have courses in plant identification, ecology, also wildlife habitat and conservation that lay that groundwork within the natural resources bar. In animal science, we have the basics of nutrition, breeding and genetics, physiology, anatomy, those courses to understand livestock production. The same in the business realm there, management, accounting, planning, and decision making. And so these courses are a collection of classes that are taught not only in the Department of Animal and Range Sciences, but also in agricultural economics and economics, as well as over in the College of Business as well. So utilizing multiple different departments and 2 different colleges to create the curriculum for this degree. And then above that, we're using this experience with the internship to really tie these classroom and academic concepts together and see how they're applied in real life. Further enhancing that with the ranching systems courses that keep building on how those courses are interrelated and can be applied, and then capping it off with some of that outside classroom education opportunities. Now for the really meat, the internship part of it, of the program. Each of the students will serve 2 summers of internship, and they'll serve that internship on the same ranch both summers. So that will do a couple of things. First, it will allow a much deeper relationship with the ranch and the student and help them to get a more complete picture of it, because they're only there in the summer. We have to stick this degree or fit this degree into that 4-year requirements for graduation. So even though we'd like to have longer internship periods, ideally a year-long internship would be great to give you the full picture of everything that goes on within the management process and the different challenges and the climate that occur throughout the year, we need to stick those internships within that summer portion. But because they're going to be there 2 summers in a row, we're encouraging these students to maintain a relationship with that ranch, to go back on the weekends, Christmas break, spring break, call up the ranch manager and talk to him. How did that stream restoration project that we were working on this summer turn out? What did the calves end up weighing whenever you shipped them this fall? What was your pregnancy rate on your cows? Those kinds of things. So they can stay intimately in touch with that ranch and keep learning throughout the year while they're away from it. And summer's not a very long time. I mean, you're taking students and putting them on a brand new place. Some of the ranches that I've had apply for it are incredibly large. And so that first summer, they're really going to be doing good if they can wrap their head around what is the goal for this ranch? What are we producing as far as saleable products? And how do I get from the bunkhouse to the windmill pasture and back without getting lost? Okay, and really just getting a feel for that ranch and how are decisions made here? When is the owner present? Are they absentee? Is it a board structure? Those types of things. And they have specific assignments within these internships that are for credit that help them to ask all those questions to start assimilating that information in weekly reports. That'll help them when they start to present on that when they get back into the ranching systems courses themselves. And then that next summer, we're asking them to delve a little deeper. The ranches that host interns have all agreed to open at least one enterprise budget of their finances to the student. So the student sees the real life, the good, the bad, and the ugly of the financing side of ranch management. And then that student is working with that ranch the first summer a little bit to kind of explore, and then over the fall and spring while they're back here to identify a certain topic that they can help that ranch with as far as addressing an issue when it comes to planning or some kind of a specific project on there. They are paid internship positions. The ranch will pay those positions. We don't set a salary for them. It's based on the ranch to determine what they would normally pay help with that experience. And that's to help maintain, you know, as far as workers' comp, but also to maintain an employee-employer relationship and accountability with the students in the ranch there. So this is the process and timeline for the internship process. I'm right now collecting internship post applications from ranches. I've had great response. from a fantastic diversity of operations who are interested in hosting interns. Students apply in November. They know they're accepted to the program in December. We start right away matching those students with host ranches. I'm right now organizing a meeting between my potential host and my student to try to make sure that they're going to be a good fit for this summer. He'll start his internship in May, serve it through August, maintain that relationship, and then go back next May and August to repeat it, ideally. We're structuring this so each internship is a unique experience, right? And we have ranches where students are going to get to stay in the guest quarters, and they're going to be driving the 2016 Ford ranch pickup that the air conditioning actually works and all the windows roll up and down, that type of thing. And there's going to be students who are going to be in the 1970s single wide bunkhouse, and they're going to have the 85 Dodge that starts with a screwdriver, right? We can't make all of these internships equal. They're going to be unique experiences, but I think that's part of it too, because then they can share that amongst each other and realize that there's a lot of diversity in the ranching world and what you're going to experience when you get out there looking for these jobs. And they're going to have opportunities to write management plans and deal with real world problems. And we're going to utilize the expertise of MSU, because these students can't really write all of these plans themselves without a little bit of help. Plus, this is part of that strengthening the relationship between MSU and the ranching communities. We can bring in our extension specialists and some of our research faculty to help deal with some of the specific issues ranches might bring forward. So the potential projects that students could be involved in is developing a grazing plan, maybe a niche marketing plan for some of the producers here, help to write a plan that they could use to implement a change in calving date or moving part of their operation to grass-fed. An employee management plan. That's something we don't necessarily think about in ranch management, but it's been, it's a huge issue. How do I resolve disputes between managers and employees, and helping them develop a set process to go through there that makes it an easier process. Maybe the ranch needs a rangeland monitoring plan, or they need to focus more on economics, such as developing some key performance indicators for their herd productivity or their rangeland productivity, and figuring out a way to effectively keep those records where they make sense to the ranch as far as the information that they're gathering, as well as the time and effort that's spent gathering that information. So in an ideal world, the graduates that we'll be producing out of here are going to have that broad skill base. They've got to be thinkers. They got to think about systems level. They've got to think critically, be able to solve problems, and be able to implement solutions that are seen as outside the box, right? And they need to be well connected. We're asking a lot from a 22-year-old, most of the time, 23-year-old coming out of a bachelor's degree program, right? With 2 summers of experience working on a ranch. If we can set the foundation for them, set them up to be starting to be critical thinkers, to look outside the box for some new solutions. They've got a mentor network. We're going to connect them with other ranch managers who have a lot more experience, so they know where to go for help and they don't feel alone. Keep that alumni network going for these students. I think we're well on the way to that. We're going to follow all of these graduates as they come out. I say that. I hope that's still easy, even when we're running a capacity of 10 students per year, and see where they are, and then keep in touch with them. How well did your education prepare you for an actual ranch management job? And talk to the people they work for too. Are we missing the boat somewhere? What else do we need to fill in some of these key skills that these owners or ranch managers need to have within that? Oop, wrong way. So now on to the management program itself. What does that outreach look like? What does the interaction within that community look like? And I've been traveling around listening to folks. What are some of your needs? What are some of the issues that are coming forward? And how can we create a program here that does not overlap? I won't say overlap, does not duplicate extension. I mean, we already have great outreach components with the university, with beef cattle extension specialists, range extension specialists, and all that. So what is the unique role that the Dan Scott Ranch Management Program can fill to meet those needs? One of the easiest things to set on is something that benefits both the students and the ranching community. And that is bringing in some of those components that I mentioned earlier were really critical to ranch management in this region and aren't necessarily taught in classes. And that is helping those students get a really good grasp on natural resource management and policy. So these are just a few smattering of what this would be. They would be bi-monthly seminars. This series will begin in September of 2020, and there'll be a total of 8, actually monthly, I'm sorry, not bi-monthly. There'll be a total of 8 seminars within that series that will focus on bringing in experts with Endangered Species Act, noxious weed law, water law, talk about BLM and Forest Service leases, how those are written and implemented, looking at conservation planning and other programs there. That's where that seminar is going. And then the other seminar, the next September in 2021, we'll have 8 months of human resource focused seminars, really honing in on how do we enhance our communication skills, how do we dig deeper into conflict resolution, personnel management, media, and local community relations. We sometimes don't think about how important that could be if you're coming in for an absentee owner, especially a recently sold ranch that might have belonged to a traditional ranching family. They allowed access to the community for hunting, did this, did that, and then you have a new owner, new priorities, and you're the face of the community. How do you begin to integrate into the community, make yourself and your family welcome and successful there, and try to smooth over any of those relations there. So some of those things, those will all be covered within seminar series. Those will be open to anyone to come and to attend, much like these are. And trying to find ways, just like these, to broadcast those out so that the ranching community can also benefit from the programs that are of interest there. The other main component is that we're planning 2 signature events, one in the spring and one in the fall of each year. The spring symposia would focus on a production topic, some kind of a prevalent management topic here. Bring in some speakers, incorporate a field tour when it's appropriate, and then I want to be able to publicly introduce the students that are in the program. You've jumped through the hoop and you've made it through the admissions process into the Dan Scott Ranch Management Program. I think it's something you should be proud of. And then also have someone who could deliver a charge to those students to say, you've made it into this program. This is what you've embarked on. This is what the industry needs and expects from you and what you're going to have to rise to be a success in it. And then also begin with that, developing those mentors, keeping alumni involved in those with the students. And then the fall of each year, we'd have a human resources symposium. Over and over and over again, you don't hear what do ranch managers need to know the most. It's not how to produce a 600-pound calf at weaning. It's not even how to manage grazing. It's business, and it's how to manage people. And that's their biggest challenge, is how do I manage the people, not just my interactions with the absentee owner maybe, but the people below me, and how do we keep good employees? So this spring this fall, I have planned to bring in a consultant who does a lot of work in this area of how to recruit and hire good employees, and then how do we provide them the training and the positive evaluations and constructive feedback that keeps those employees growing for this operation. How do we handle conflict resolution, things like cultivating effective partnerships within agencies and neighbors, other entities. That will be the focus of those. And there'll be probably 1 to 2 day symposiums. This is the first one, May 7th in Bozeman. We're focusing in on that production one, and this will be calving season. We're bringing in Bert Tykert, who is a consultant and contributor to Beef Magazine. He is the quintessential systems thinker for ranch management. He deals with every issue in it, and he is excellent at looking at things in a complete picture, and how when you change one aspect of ranch management, it can have so many different either positive or negative consequences on other things that you're intended or unintended. And he's going to speak on calving season and how that is so key to ranch profitability. This will be at the Holiday Inn. He'll be on campus the day before, and I'll try to set up a seminar, and I'll get that information out to folks as we get the registration and stuff worked out. Also, following Burke's presentation, we'll tour actually the Red Bluff Research Ranch down here. They are in the process of changing their calving season from February to May. That's a big change. So we're going to go view the research ranch, look a little bit about what are some of the things that prompted that change, and what do they see as benefits and opportunities as well as challenges with making that change within there. And then we'll have a panel of producers here that will be talking about the opportunities and challenges that they face by changing calving date. Maybe it's less labor here, but they're having challenges in breed up for the next breeding season. Marketing, what do we do when we have calves that don't fit that normal window of that October operating window? So just a good opportunity to learn from some folks who have made some pretty dramatic changes on their operation and what lessons they have learned within that process. And this is kind of my pie in the sky, down the road. Who knows where this outreach program might go in the future? There's nothing like seeing something yourselves. And ranchers like to learn from each other and visit with each other and find out how they got together to solve problems. And we have a couple of really amazing rancher-led groups in the Northern Great Plains, the Winded Aces and the Ranchers Stewardship Alliance, who do this pretty well. They come together and they try to figure out how to solve problems, and they like to work with groups in other areas. So maybe coordinating some rancher exchange where we have out of state or even out of area. I mean, it's a big state. If you go from Malta to Deer Lodge, that's a totally different atmosphere that you might be dealing with and folks that you don't talk to on a regular basis. But how do we get ranchers better connected so that they can share the strategies that have worked for them in dealing with complex issues socially, environmentally, production-wise, whatever has been their challenge. And then certainly we've had these discussions a lot. You train people and they're really passionate about it, but then you actually get to that implementation step. And that becomes really scary. And how do I start? Do I remember enough from school? And so how do we keep these students really connected to mentors who have done a great job with ranch management, and then to each other so that they have a network to go to ask questions, and also some accountability and encouragement, right? We all need accountability to make sure that we actually follow through with the things that we say we're going to do. And there's a unique program through the Ranching for Profit that's called Executive Link, and they really keep graduates of that program together. They get together annually, and they kind of serve as each other's accountability network to keep things moving forward. So not copying that program, but finding some structure that fits this program that helps folks stay connected and be able to use each other as resources when it gets to actually implementing some changes in management or how they're doing things. So with that, I will take any questions that you guys have about the program, and would love to hear ideas, opportunities that you have for it moving forward. I'm maybe a little bit short as far as time-wise, but lots of opportunities for questions or comments. Yes.
How much so you have the interns that go into the field, and so they obviously have their 10 with each ranch. How much do the other 9 interns get to network with the other 9 ranches?
The interaction between the 10 students that are in the program.
10 students. And so, but how much do they interact? And so it's not just one-on-one, so that it's kind of one to multiple different contacts and build that network.
Yeah, and that remains to be seen just a little bit, but that's a great point. And one of the things that we want to emphasize, when each of those students presents about the ranch that hosted them, those ranch owners are going to be invited to that presentation. Hopefully they could be there and that they can interact with the students in a classroom setting there. It would be great if we could take all of the students to each of the intern hosts each year. The funding limitations to do that, logistics, you only have May to September, and if you're trying to visit all 10 ranches, where do you fit that in? And then trying to fit that within the confines of the academic year and the class schedule as well. You know, there's definitely going to be some Saturday field trips that will go to some of them. It depends a little bit, I think, to answer your question a little bit more directly. They may not interact with all 10, but certainly a select few that are close enough and that have some distinct characteristics to offer those students as far as really broadening their education. So yes, there is intent to do that so that the student get to experience something from all 10 of those mentors. My ultimate goal is to have, you know, say 40 ranches in the queue. And then I have something to pick because I personally will match the students with the ranch and then see if that fits. But then I can say, okay, here's a student who has X, Y, and Z skills, and they're really lacking in these areas, and then that fits well with this ranch. And you don't put the student who is scared to death of horses on the ranch that works 90%, you know, works cattle 90% of the time on horseback. That's not going to be a good fit. But finding a fit both in what the student wants to do, but also in what they need to do as far as really stretching outside of their comfort zone. So I won't utilize every ranch that I have in the program each year, and some ranches that maybe don't host interns would be great for a field trip to take all 10 students out for a day so that we can look at their intensive grazing management practices or whatever else they have going on. Yeah, and then a lot of opportunities for some of these great mentors to come in and teach class sessions. You know, number of large ranches that I have managed successfully is 0, right? So I can't teach everything as the instructor of all these classes. It's going to be my privilege to be able to pick some experts and bring in, have them be able to expound on their experience. Yes.
When I was an undergrad at Colorado State, I was in the range program.
Mm-hmm.
I sought out my own internship on a ranch in South Dakota, so it's really cool to see that this is becoming an official thing, that there's actually options for students to do that. Just curious, are you targeting or are students who are interested, are they coming from ranch family backgrounds or are they coming from other places? And also, are these ranches all in Montana?
Yeah, those are a couple of great questions. And I don't know if I need to repeat the question for the microphone, but the first part of that was, are we targeting students or is it mostly students who are coming from ranching backgrounds that are interested in the program? The answer is no. It is students from a whole diversity of backgrounds. I have some students who have some ranching background. I have other students who moved to Montana State and think that this is really cool and I think I just want a ranch. That just sounds fun. And I've never really been around cows, but that's really great. And I have a whole diversity of students who've expressed interest in the program as well as the ones who signed up for the program and who declared that as the major of their freshman year. And we anticipated that, honestly, from the beginning, that there was going to be a wide variety of students. And I think it's great because the students that have a ranching background, they have experience, but it's also experience with one aspect. So we're going to broaden their experience by taking them to a completely different type of operation and a different setting so that they can learn some different stuff. They can't internship on their family ranch. That's an absolute no within the program. And then students who are coming in with no background really have no preconceived notions about ranching. And they're open books for the most part. So they're just really sponges learning a lot of things. And then I have students who are really interested in, you know, I want to go manage a production cow-calf operation. And then I have students who are more interested in looking at the amenities side of it and managing operations for that. And then your question about, are all the ranches located in Montana? Right now we do have the Padlock Ranch, which is an internship. That ranch is located in Montana and Wyoming, and they have signed up to host interns. The rest of the ranches right now are in Montana. I'm totally open to ranches out of state. I don't see any reason why we shouldn't do that. The only drawback to that is we get to that critical distance to where it makes it really hard for a student to maintain that relationship with that ranch and to go back at any time. So that would be a hesitation for, say, a ranch in New Mexico that's a couple days drive or requires a plane ticket for that student to get back and forth. Yes.
Is there a placement commitment that you have in terms of after graduation and placing people in jobs? How do you envision that working?
We don't have a commitment to, 100% placement of folks in jobs, but that is definitely a component, for sure. Part of that network building and those outside educational opportunities is to start introducing students to the people who are actively seeking ranch managers and helping them develop those relationships. A lot of the ranches who are hosting interns are doing that from the standpoint of them seeking out potential future employees. So there's that component as well. But yes, ideally, I would like to see 100% of these students placed, in jobs of some sort when they graduate. Probably, middle management, even just regular ranch hand jobs for a year or two until they gain some more experience. There's also the potential that they could go on to do longer internship programs, maybe a year-long internship program through the Corvera Coalition or something that would, give them that added experience and make them even more marketable in the future. Yes.
Thank you. One thing that I've been thinking about listening is from my brief experience in Central Montana, a lot of like a new, maybe Judy, or maybe not new, but is participation in groups like conservation districts and ACEs and CMR working groups. And how are you incorporating that engagement aspect into the program? Are they prepped for that?
Yeah, that's a great question. How do you incorporate the engagement process in there? And, thankfully through my past experiences, definitely having working groups like the CMR Community Working Group, ACEs, Rancher Stewardship Alliance, be incorporated into field trips. They can go and see communities wrestle with some of these issues and just even to understand the need for participation and how complex these issues are, and that you're not just sitting down and hammering out a solution, in a short amount of time, but these are a longer process. But emphasizing that in a number of different ways, the involvement in the things that you're dealing with from a community standpoint too. Are you involved in a working group? Are you on, do you serve on your local noxious weed board or something similar? And would you please take the student along with you so that they can see the community involvement aspect of it? Yeah. Yes.
And we would love to be invited to come to class and give like a 101, on how rural economies work or something like that. I think the service component is super. Obviously, they have a lot of commitments already, but if we can seed a new generation of people who are, kind of literate in the importance of service and just understand like how rural places collect taxes and how do they keep the roads open and all that, we'd love to do.
That is fantastic. I think that would be, I sincerely appreciate the offer. You are on my short list. Just assume that you've been accepted and we'll send you a date. We'll work together for it. But no, it's an incredibly important aspect. It kind of goes back to that whole community relations of you being the face of that ranch to the community. And that face, it does involve you serving on the local boards. I mean, you're going to have kids in that community playing softball, 4-H auction. Does that mean donating to the local cancer support dinner for a community person? What does that mean as far as your ability to service and to help that ranch integrate into the community in a way that's really meaningful?
And I missed it. So is the first cohort already established, or are they next summer of 21 is when they're going to go out on their extensions?
Did I skip that part? Absolutely, completely. I kind of think I did. So we did open applications. We did open applications this fall for students, not really thinking that we would have that many, because the ranching systems degree was not even available for students to declare as a major until this fall as well. So to assume that they had gotten 40 credits, either completed or in the process for this fall. However, we did have one student who met those requirements. He had seen the list of classes before that degree became available and said, this is what I want to do, and started tweaking his schedule to do that, much to his existing advisor's chagrin. And he was qualified and accepted into the program. So we're really excited to have a cohort of one. We'll be starting with an internship in May. I'm not sure he's that excited to be the cohort of one. We're going to buy him the official Ranching Systems Guinea Pig t-shirt. But no, and we have a great student, and he's He's really good at providing feedback on what things are going to be working and what are not working. And we're going to be doing some creative things as far as classes, because, you know, having a class of one professor and one student is going to get pretty old pretty quick. So we've already been talking with other professors about ways that we can incorporate their presentation, you know, his presentation on the ranch that was hosted with in other classes, get some feedback, how we can have, you know, open sessions for others to come to any guest speakers who are in the class. And it'll be a really, well, we're going to try some really unique things, I think, this first year, but I am excited to have a student in the program and start down that pathway, start learning some lessons. And then we'll open it up next year, and I anticipate quite a lot of interest, just because there's been time for students to have declared ranching systems, for the program to have gotten out a little bit. Got quite a few students from junior colleges in state and out of state who are looking at transferring to MSU and pursuing this degree. So I'm really excited to see who all is going to be here next year and what cohort we have in 2021.
Yeah, have you considered maybe in the future doing like an associate's version of this? Because sometimes, you know, like ranch kids don't like to be away for 4 years, or you know, like some type of like fast track. Probably not, obviously not as in depth as good, but something similar.
Yeah, you know, that one that hasn't necessarily been something that I put a lot of thought into. It's definitely not off the board. We've had discussions of, do we expand this to a master's program in the future? Do we start offering a master's program? You know, there are, with those two other universities, Texas Christian offers a 9-month intensive program that you can go to as part of that 4-year degree, but you don't have to get the whole 4-year degree. So there's that option that's available. The King Ranch has the master's option too. We're just encouraging students to find what fits best for them as far as a niche, but something I'll keep in mind and we could explore for sure.
My daughter just puked at school.
So in the interest of preparing these students to manage in the future, have you integrated climate change into any of these thoughts about how do you move ranches to start to think about these kinds of possibilities?
Oh yeah, I think it's going to be, number one, it's going to be incorporated into the curriculum that they're already studying through the natural resource ecology. I don't know of any of the NRSM classes and the wild classes that don't discuss climate change and the influence that's going to have as far as making, you know, management decisions when it regards the landscape in the future. Certainly. As far as specifically how we might within the ranching systems courses bring that to bear, I don't know. It's something to explore for sure. I'm still developing those courses, waiting for them to get through chem. So, which is the curriculum. Oh, I tried to define it, so now I forget it.
Right.
Curriculum
Right.
inventory management system. Yeah. Yeah, and so that's, you know, we got the bones put on the skeleton really is all for these courses and what that framework is, so we could get that through the curriculum approval process. And now I'm really honing in the process of writing a strategic plan for this program, looking at those courses individually of what are all of the nuts and bolts of those specific pieces like climate change that need to be incorporated, and how does that work into assimilating all of these different topics into a concerted project, concerted class. Yeah, it's a good, again, another good topic to consider to be in there.
Great. Any other questions? All right, well, thank you very much.